Good morning, everybody. This is Mrs. Lehman from Math with Mrs. Lehman. I'm here with my third period class today.
Hey, what's up? Good morning. Hola.
Good morning, Ola. All right, what we're doing today is we are finding the distance on the coordinate plane. So we actually spent the first 10-15 minutes of class practicing on a program called IXL. And the real benefit of IXL is that it gives us some examples of where kids are struggling, and then we can go through these. So IXL is very nice to you kids. It gave you, for each example, a coordinate plane to work off of. All right. You'll notice in your module books, there is no coordinate plane, but we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, find the distance between the points -16, 6, and 4, 6. So essentially, when you're finding the distance between 2 points, you want to look at the point that they do not have in common. In this case, and I can't write on this, they have a y-coordinate in common of 6, right? So we're going to ignore that. What type of line does that form, those 2 points? Nice and loud, Jaden.
Horizontal line.
Very good. Horizontal, like the horizon. All right, we'll notice that this first point is 16 to the left, right, and the other point is 4 to the right. So what would we do with those two numbers? What would we do? Elijah?
You would add them together to see if the units apart from each other.
Very good. We're going to add their absolute value. So this is 16 away. Even though it's -16, it's still a distance of 16. And then add 4 to 16, which is a total distance of 20. Very good. Now, what some kids were doing, they were just counting the jumps, right? And they got themselves into trouble. Why would they get themselves into trouble on this coordinate plane, Liz?
Because they wouldn't count all of them.
Nope, that's not why. Well, that would also cause them problems. But look at those X and Y axes very carefully. What do we notice about this? Willow?
Some of them are negative.
Yeah, we know that though.
They're counted by fours.
Okay, they're actually not counting by fours, but you're noticing that they labeled every other, right? It's hard to see on here. I apologize, but each jump is worth how much? 2. Okay. Each jump is worth 2, and the scale is what each jump is worth, not what they labeled, right? They just labeled every other one, so they only labeled 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, but each jump is worth 2. So that's where some kids goofed up a little bit. So the total distance here, again, is 16 plus 4, which is 20. I'm going to pause this and scroll to a new problem. Okay. This question says, find the distance between the points -12, 20, so it's 12 to the left, but it's up 20. This other point is also 12 to the left, but instead of going up 20, it's going down 16. So would we take the 20 and add or subtract 16? What do you think? What do you guys think? Would we add or subtract 16? One is going 20 up. The other one is going 16 down. Add or subtract? I have 2 children in here who think they know. Of course she knows. She got to the challenge zone. Very good. Jaden, what is it?
We will add.
We will add 20 plus 16 is 36. So that's a distance of 36. Any questions on that? All right, we're going to go to the next problem. This problem says find the distance between the points 2, -8, and 10, -8. So again, we're noticing that, well, what quadrant are these points in?
4.
Quadrant 4, very good. So 2, -8, and 10, -8, they both share which coordinate? Which coordinate do they have the same? Jasmine?
8.
The -8, which is their x or y coordinate.
Y.
Their y coordinate. So when they share a y coordinate, we know it's going to be what type of line, first of all? Horizontal or vertical? Yeah. Horizontal, very good. All right, so this one is down, I'm sorry, it is to the right 2. This one's to the right 10. So would we add or subtract those? The 2 and the 10, are we adding or subtracting? You have a 50-50 chance of getting this right. And the worst that can happen is that you get it wrong. That's the absolute worst thing that can happen right now. And that's really not bad. So, what do you think, Willow? Sorry. So, Kyle, what do you think? Subtract. Very good. So, here's the trick to this. You tried. I appreciate it. The trick to this is if the signs are the same, in this case 2 and 10, right? They're the same. We're going to subtract. When they're in the same quadrant, we subtract. All right, when they cross an axis, it kind of looks like a plus sign is being made, okay? That will be your clue. The points cross over, one's on a different side of an axis from the other one, meaning they're in different quadrants, or even on an axis, but on one side versus the other. You are going to add their absolute values. So this is an example of that. Let's go to a new example. Okay, we just had a good question here. What happens when we have a diagonal line? Well, in 6th grade, at least here in 6th grade, you do not learn how to find the distance of a diagonal line, which you certainly can. There's a special formula for that, which you'll learn in a later grade, okay? So don't worry about that. In 6th grade, they just make your life easy. You either add or subtract those coordinates, okay? So we have -5, 8, and -5, 3, both in quadrant 2. So they're in the same quadrant. All right, the coordinate that they do not share, their y coordinate, one is 8, one is 3. The signs are the same. What do we do? Add or subtract, everybody?
Subtract.
Subtract, very good. So 8 minus 3 is 5, okay? So these were just a few warm-up examples from IXL because we're now going to flip to your module books, page 78. All right, where they give you some exercises here, and it says to find the lengths of the line segments whose endpoints are given below, and explain how you determine that the line segments are horizontal or vertical. So one thing I like to say is if they don't give, you see a problem like this, right, this is New York State material right here, they give you a problem like this, and they do not give you a coordinate plane. What would I say to do?
DIY.
What does that stand for?
Do it yourself.
Do it yourself. If you want it done, do it yourself. All right, so everybody take the 5 seconds it takes to draw yourself a little coordinate plane right under each problem, okay? And we're going to go ahead and plot these points. Now, it doesn't have to be exact, but this just will give us a little bit of a visual, and I think it's easier to understand. So we have the point -3, 4. So -3, go to the left 3, up 4. You're going to be somewhere in quadrant, what quadrant is this? 2, very good. And then -3, 9. So again, this one's over where you would consider 3 to be, and then up above the other point because this is up 9. Okay? So what type of line would that form? Everybody?
Vertical.
I'm hearing a few kids here and there saying vertical, all right? So we are going to say that's a vertical line. And that's because they share an x coordinate. All right? As far as the distance between the two, they're in the same quadrant, these points. What do we do? Add or subtract? Everybody? Subtract. Their confidence seems low today. All right, so what are we subtracting? The x or y coordinates? The y coordinates, the ones that they have different from one another. So we're going to take the absolute value of 9 and subtract the absolute value of 4. Right, this is how we're mathematically proving this. So absolute value of 9 is 9. Absolute value of 4 is 4. 9 minus 4, everybody? 5, and we're going to say units. All right, so that's a vertical line that is 5 units long. All right, let's go ahead and look at the next one. Again, we don't see a coordinate plane here. Give yourself 5 seconds to do that, DIY. All right, go ahead and plot 2, -2. Positive 2, -2 would be somewhere in what quadrant? 4. And then -8, -2. So now we're going to the left and down the same amount. quadrant 3 where both numbers are negative. All right, so what type of line would that form on the count of 3? Everybody tell me. 1, 2, 3.
Horizontal.
All right, that was better. Thanks. All right, horizontal. Okay, now we have to figure out how long this line is. All right, so we're going to ignore the coordinates that they have the same. And we're going to look, in this case, at their x coordinates, which are different. Now, you'll notice, I'm going to highlight this in green, you'll notice that it crossed an axis, right? And it kind of forms a plus sign. That's our hint we're going to add, right? So we're going to take the absolute value of 2 plus the absolute value of negative 8. We're only going to deal with positives in this case because even though one is 8 to the left, it's still a distance of 8. Okay? All right, so absolute value of 2 is 2, and the absolute value of negative 8 is 8. 2 plus 8 is 10. I'm going to let the kids work on C and D on their own for the next few minutes. So I'm going to pause this video. See you real soon. All right, so the kids have done a few of these examples. They did it themselves. They drew a little coordinate plane. They plotted this point, -6, -6, which was in quadrant 3, and then -6, -1. All right, that's going to form a vertical line. Oops, I'm sorry. My bad. Rewind. Oh, I don't have those types of editing skills. Just erase that. Start over. I was just making sure all the YouTube viewers were paying attention. Good save, Kyle. Good save. All right, so -6, -6. I know. -6, +1. Big difference there. All right, now that forms. What did I do before? Okay. So yes. So that's still a vertical line. I'm going home. It's a Monday, Tuesday. All right, so this one's up 1, this one's down 6, so the absolute value of -6 plus the absolute value of 1 equals a total distance of 7, because it'd be 6 plus 1 equals 7 units. All right, the next one, again, DIY, draw yourself a coordinate plane. We have -9, 4. That's going to be somewhere here in quadrant 2. -4 up 4, somewhere right there. That's going to be a horizontal line. And because they're in the same quadrant, we're going to subtract. Again, we ignore this if they have the same. We're going to look at the coordinates that are different. So the absolute value of -9 minus the absolute value of -4. So that's 9 minus 4 is a distance of 5. One kid said 5. It was Willow. All right. And then E. Oh, it was who? Oh, I'm sorry. It was William whispering. Thought it was the Whisper of Willow. All right. That could be a book title. The Whisper of Willow. I like it. If somebody uses that, please don't forget to like and subscribe so you can claim that you heard it first. Anyway. Now this one's a little bit different because it has 2 points on an axis. Okay. So it's going to fall right on top of the y-axis, but again, it's crossing the x-axis, so we're going to add the -11, the absolute value of that, plus the absolute value of 8, because one's going down 11, so this is a distance of 11, this is a distance of 8, total distance of 11 plus 8, everybody? 19 units. All right. This class is usually much more enthusiastic. But anyway, it's time to go. So thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day.